I just kind of wanted to share what is cultivating in my brain right now. It's not fully formed and hatched or anything, but thinking about how now that I am finding the capability within myself to have gratitude for the deep pains and traumas of my life, I think the next step from there is, and I felt it once, that's why I think it's the next step, but I haven't felt it again. But was a genuine excitement for the next trial and tribulation, because it's an opportunity to grow. And I really want to feel that again. And I want to feel it stronger. And I want to feel it in the midst of the suffering. That's going to be the hardest part, I think. It's easier to find gratitude, which is kind of more past tense, for the trial and tribulation than it will be to find contentment in it, in the present. But that is the mindset I'm looking to cultivate next. That's where I want to go. Because that's the kind of person I want to be. I'm more and more I think about what is my best self, my highest self. Who are they in the midst of things not going their way, things going bad, in the midst of trauma, in the midst of pain? Who is my highest self? Who is my best self? Because I want to be that best version of myself, and I do believe that we are all capable of finding and inhabiting in a way that concept of our best self. Maybe not all the time, but the more and more we do it, the more common it'll become. I do know that, as with any habit. Humans are habitual, and our brains are just like wired that way. The more we do something, the more we want to do it. Yay, human brain. Or the better we are at it, at least, generally. And so I just kind of was sitting here thinking and trying to remain open to direction from within myself, aka also the universe. The universe is within us, right? And I know that sounds crazy, woo-woo bullshit, but whatever. Anyways, and just kind of was thinking about it, and I felt that little glimmer of, because I've been doing a lot of like mind's eye kind of meditation, I guess. I don't know if that's a thing. That's just kind of what I'm calling it. But where I close my eyes and I visualize in my mind's eye, which is pretty vivid, a scene. And so I imagine myself in a scenario. That's what I was doing here. I was imagining myself in a scenario where I was feeling really frustrated and hopeless and distraught. And I thought, okay, I'm here, but what would the best version of me be feeling in the midst of all these mental processes, right? Because I'm talking about the spiritual me, I guess. Because the mental me isn't, when the mental me is in anguish, when the physical me is in anguish, how do I keep the spiritual me out of anguish? And being able to create in the moment that sense of not just gratitude for what this will teach me in the future, but a sense of joy and excitement to be in active opportunity to learn, right? Because I love to learn. And I know there are a lot of people that say they love to learn, but I can't say I love to learn the painful way. not currently. But I would love to be able to appreciate learning even the painful way. Obviously, I'm not going to seek that out or anything. I don't think anyone would. But yeah, being able to, because we don't control the world around us, and that fact can make us cling on to the idea that we are victims of the world happening to us, right? But life isn't just the external. Life is also the internal processes of the external, right? So by creating a stable inner peace, we become less and less affected by the outside. And it doesn't mean we don't still, in our minds, comprehend pain or that something wrong is happening. It's that in the midst of this pain and this suffering, we still spiritually have a sense of peace and faith, rather, which I've hated that word for a really long time, and I find myself using it more and more these days. But Not like a faith in some kind of invisible man in the sky or some book written by a bunch of people that I don't fucking trust or know. Faith in ourselves, faith in life, the universe, God, if you want to call it that, but the thing that's bigger than one man alone. All of us, maybe, I don't know. But finding that little piece and keeping it solid and anchored and stable, despite what may happen in my mind or around my body. Yeah, so that's the next step. I'm not sure how to get there, really. I'll figure it out, I guess. It'll happen. Or it won't. Oh, but I think it will. That's, I guess, the faith, right? The faith that when we need to learn things, when we really, really need to learn things, when we're really seeking them, when we're really trying to learn them, we'll figure it out. And we may first figure out the wrong thing like 30 billion times first, and we may figure out what it isn't. So we discover what it is, and sometimes our only definition of what it is by learning what it isn't, right? So yeah, I'll get there. But it's cool to have a little peep into what the next phase of this is going to be, and I imagine this phase I'm currently in is going to continue to grow throughout a lifetime, I guess. But, I'm under no illusion that it's going to happen quickly. Even though it seems like my whole experience with the blockage I'd been having around gratitude for my pain and my trauma, specifically from my mother, that happened outside of time, if that makes sense. And I know that sounds crazy, but because it was less than a second, less than a nanosecond, that all of these things happened simultaneously. It wasn't really like one after the other. It was like the universe giving me a book that I'd already read, if that makes any sense at all. And you know what's in the book, even though you're not looking at each individual word, right? And so that's what that experience was like a book I'd already read, sat in my lap, and I experienced the book, like the way you would when someone hands you an old book you haven't read in a long time. You have this instantaneous, outside of time kind of flash of the book, your memory of it. Maybe you're experiencing the feeling that you got when you finished it, or your favorite part in the middle. Maybe it's both at the same time. It's that outside of time kind of cognition, if that makes sense. Or maybe it's like quantum cognition or something. I don't know, but it's the kind of thought process that doesn't seem to occur inside of time, like my monologued thoughts, if that makes sense. The mind me, rather. And so, yeah, I'm going off on a bit of a tangent, but yeah, I think that little incidents I had too, just sitting outside and kind of getting a little taste of the next step after this blockage of being able to really be grateful for the bad, is being peaceful, being still, being joy during the suffering, while also suffering. And again, like I kind of talked on that, and it's cool how I talked on suffering without suffering before I'd really experienced it. And it's really motivating, I think, to be able to experience something you've read about and haven't felt yet, then to feel it afterwards. You're like, wow, now I get it, because it's a whole new level of understanding. That's the human experience, right? To be felt. So I hope y'all feel me when I say this. I am excited for the journey. And I actually foresee some bad days coming. But this is my opportunity. This is my opportunity to create inner transformation for myself. When I feel helpless, in my bad mood, in my depression, in my anxiety, in all these mental illnesses in which I struggle from, I look forward to being able to simultaneously cultivate an inner sense of peace and trust that I will figure out what to do if it becomes unmanageable. I will be able to swallow my pride and ask help if I need for it, or any of these things. I trust in myself to listen to myself and honestly respond and give myself what I really need. So yeah, thank you to everyone that watches these dumb videos. Love y'all.